movement or anything that comes to mind for you, or what civil rights means to you?
Okay, I was a youngster. I was around 11 and about to start secondary school education when everything sort of kicked off. And my mother and father were founder members of the Civil Rights Association, together with Edwina and other colleagues. And I say I started secondary school education. My education at home was probably the most influential, because I remember our house in the Bone.
Aye, the Bone.
Two up, two down, and an outside toilet. And we had all sorts of people coming out. The people who stuck in my mind were, now I know as the key influential civil rights leaders, from the Communist Party, from Republican background, Unionist background, the students. My sister Bridge was in the PD. I mean, everyone coming in and out of the house, and such an education for us. So we were swamped in political education and well aware of what was going on. And occasionally my parents would take us as children along to the marches, and we'd march along. So we were well used to that as well. Adrina and other people, we became great friends over the years and have kept in touch. I think one of the things that comes from the civil rights campaign is to watch, to see how people, what happened to them, and what they brought back, and quite a lot of them are still involved in human rights and race relations, community relations.
They have all gone on to different things.
All gone, and they're still carrying on a campaign. So, but also the important thing about people, working class people, who will be here today and have come to other events, coming forward now to talk about how it influenced their lives. And they remained, mothers and fathers and working in factories or shops, but they had such a contribution to make and have passed that on to their children, as my parents passed on to me. So very grateful that my parents and people like Edwina and others engaged with the children as well, and that we were part of that, albeit very young, but it helped shape I think, good principles.
Would you say civil rights changed a lot of things for the women in Northern Ireland today?
Yes, yes, most definitely. Yeah, I think very strong in the north, and I think the women, because they were strong, helped change the men to become less sexist. That would be one of the points I'd like to make.
Well, but that Bernadette Devlin was a great woman, wasn't she?
Well, I have some admiration for Bernadette Devlin, but I didn't agree with her politically and the confrontation policy of the PD. But she was courageous and carried on her, fought for her own ideas.
Well, that was the good thing about civil rights. It was a mixture of everybody,
That's
with
right.
all different, it was principles before personalities.
Yes, the day I was elected at the AGM in '69, Con McCluskey, the great gatherer of information, said, we always should obey communists in the executive, and that's right.
For me, the communists were among the lead roles in the Civil Rights Association.
Absolutely.
And they were the people that I remember most coming to our house. And I remember them because we were in a very working class area, and mostly a lot of the communists came from very well educated backgrounds, and they were incredible people who were very knowledgeable about world international.
Was one of them boys Finbar? He was a bit of a communist.
Finbar, indeed, you couldn't forget.
One of the leaders, was he?
Well, in Derry he was. He didn't serve in the executive, but he was the first meeting I spoke at in Strabane. Finbar gave an impassioned speech, and I was shaking. How am I going to go after him? But I did, and made an ordinary speech. But I've made my own impassioned speeches at other times.
Well, that was good. Well, ladies, I sort of captured you at short notice. I'd like to thank you very, very much in helping me to do this little bit of work. Thank you.
Remember Bridget Bond.
Oh, could you give us a little story before we finish?
I have to tell you a story about Bridget Bond when I was a child.
Well, this is for the archives. Go ahead.
One Saturday morning, as a child living in the Bone, Bridget had been up at a protest, a march, and came to stay overnight in our house, and I didn't know, but I woke up in the morning and turned over, and there was a woman in the bed beside me in a double bed, and she said to me, "You're all right, love, I'm Bridget Bond." And I said to her, "All right," and went back to sleep, and she went down, she said, "That child, I just said to her, I'm Bridget Bond," as if she knew me. She went back to sleep again, and I never forgot her, and I watched her afterwards and listened to her. and there was something very inspirational about her, that just the whole personality of her. I turned around and she said, "You're all right, I'm Bridget Bond."
She was a marvellous woman, and she had a great relationship and way of working with forces that weren't necessarily civil rights, and keeping windows open so as advances and changes could be made. But my story about her was, we were up for an important meeting in Derry, and Malachi McGoran, who was an executive at that time, said to me, "Don't get her too excited and disagree with her too much, because she's a way of having a wee heart flutter, you know, she had a bad heart flutter, and she would get her own way by having a very slight one."
My goodness.
That's an affectionate one, because she was marvellous. And
That's
her
brilliant.
husband was a model to men, you know, running the house and letting her go out, because she had quite a big family, and do the job.
That's great. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you.